here this morning, I remembered something that happened because I run into a former tax colleague, not Joyce, a little while ago. And it was something that, at the time, struck me about knowledge sharing and knowledge management and knowledge transfer. And I'll just share with you this little story. I was working in a team and we were kind of milling around, getting organised, waiting to start a team meeting. And one of the really quite young staff, Gen Y, said to another one of the really quite young staff, you know, we should have secretaries. We should have people to do our keyboard work for us and our filing and stuff for us so we can get on with the real work. And she turned to me and she said to me, Jane, why can't we all have secretaries? And I said, well, in fact, in 1986, there was what was called a second-tier wage agreement implemented in the Commonwealth Government employment, which amalgamated a couple of different types of job classifications, which meant the work was joined together. So from that point on, we all had to do our own keyboard work and filing work, and the people who had been doing that got to do some of your real work. And one of the other Gen Ys turned to her and said, see, I told you she'd know, and I told you it'd be something last century before we were born. And that's a true story. But it struck me at that point. I just take that for granted. I just knew why this happens, and it's just part of the fabric of work. But to these young people, they had no clue why. So that little piece of knowledge, which just infiltrated in my daily work and how I went about things and why I did things, was complete mystery to them. And so then they wanted to know about the history of that and how that came about. So, that was a little tiny piece of knowledge sharing that I thought, wow, I can hand back some of that history and that knowledge to help them better understand, what they do and why they do it. So, that's the little story. Okay. Because it's so early, I thought I'd keep today's structure for the presentation nice and simple. So what I'm going to do today is talk about, when we talk about the knowledge bit of knowledge sharing, what knowledge are we talking about? Why would we do it? Who's got this knowledge and how do we know that they've got it? When do we do it? And importantly, okay, you'll have to stay till the end and find out how to do it. Okay, so let's start, and here I go again, with the what. Okay, in the knowledge that I'm talking about today is the sort of knowledge that people have and probably often don't realise they have. It's the knowledge that's built up as a result of experience, doing things multiple times, trying things a different way, and then going, okay, well, that's how I do it. It's what I call, it's the how that you do and the why people do things. What I'm not talking about today is, the knowledge, if you like, and information that's stored in systems. Organisations have, systems for storing and processing stuff, systems to access, databases and stuff like that. We can learn how to access those things, we can find stuff. It's the knowledge that's held in people's heads, I suppose. The stuff that, well, that's not what the book says, why do you do it that way? And the stuff that people keep reinventing the wheel often if we don't transfer knowledge, if we don't share information and knowledge like that. Yeah, it's the stuff that's in people's heads. You won't find it on files. You find data and information on files. You find application, how to do it, why to do it in people's heads. And it's intangible. It's the sort of stuff you can't go into a file and look up and go, yep, got it. This is the stuff that best enables us to do things better. So the what is that intangible how to do things and why to do things. Now, organisations, certainly in recent years, are investing a lot of time and money, and rightly so, I believe, in the systems stuff. So, you get organisations investing in bespoke systems or off-the-shelf systems to store and manage data and information. And I think they're great and really important. And it's even down to the level I've seen it happening where you know, protocols are put in place for the different, the different drives. You've got your H drives and this drive and that drive and your personal drive. Protocols are put in place for how those should be set up, what the structure of the folders is, and then organisations control who has access and so on. All that is fantastic and wonderful. Not talking about that today.